everybody. Here I'm with Karen from England, and we continue conversation and check out the interview I just made about Karen and her ideas of relationship. And it's pretty much, if you hadn't seen the video, it's pretty much classic values where both people are contributing. There is love, there is respect. People cherish each other from both sides. It's just mutual, beautiful, classic relationship. But I would like to ask Karen about what's going on actually in England, because I feel that Karen is kind of special. She's very feminine and yet she's very driven. Isn't that a beautiful combination, being feminine and driven at the same time?
I think it's unusual.
Yeah.
And what I found is that I think I have an unusual personality type. So something like 5% of the population have
I think
this
it's more like
very
3.
intuitive. Yeah, 3%, yeah. Perceiving, feeling, judging or something. But yeah, what I found was that it's got easier now in my 30s because I think I attract the people I like. But back in my 20s, I found it quite hard to make friends with girls because I seem to get on better with men. Yeah, and it might have been, so I'm quite tomboyish, and my humour can be quite masculine and quite shocking. Yeah, so I always had a lot of male friends, and I found it harder to make friends with women because I found a lot of girls around me were either really, really girly and they didn't have a brain in their head, or there just wasn't enough going on up there to interest me, or there were girls that were very, very aggressive and masculine, and I thought, I don't fit into that. That doesn't interest me. I'm not a feminist. I'm just this curious
I'm very
person.
girly.
You are very girly, but I think you're very analytical. You ask questions. And I tell you what, I think most women aren't encouraged to ask questions. And I was told, stop asking questions. So now I ask all the questions I want to ask, and I think it makes me unusual. And I don't understand why other women aren't more curious and asking questions about the world and about themselves. So I think maybe my curiosity makes me unusual and makes you unusual as well.
That's
You're always
interesting.
thinking and analysing and questioning, and it's really
I
beautiful.
personally, yeah, I just think that, like, personally, I love the combination of, being feminine and being driven. I think and being kind and romantic and yet being a little, edgy.
I think it
I
is unusual.
so I would love if you can tell us some insights, about not about you, but maybe friends or group of women. Like, is feminism taking over Britain? Of what like women expect in a relationship, or what they want to give, or do they even want a relationship? Like, because I know how it is in the US, I'm just curious, what an average, or maybe there are 2 or 3 groups of different expectations, and is it becoming very feministic as well?
I think there's a big camp of women who are quite masculine and they're used to being the breadwinner. So my sister, for example, I can talk about my sister. She's really lovely. She's very kind, but she's always earned a lot of money. She's in quite a masculine profession, does computers and software. And so she was in a marriage where the husband stayed at home and looked after the baby, and she was working because she had the skills and she had that drive, and she's very ambitious. So I think from what I've discovered and from the people I've known and my friends and what I observe, women, there seems to be different camps and they're very different. So there are women who are very driven, very masculine, and they will sort of put men down and say, I don't need a man. There's a whole camp of women saying, I don't need a man. I've got single friends who say it, I don't need a man, I don't want a man, but they're always chasing men,
Yeah, interesting.
and then yeah, and I think you've got the dreamers, you've got the romantic dreamers, and I've always believed in love. I've never given up. I've been married twice, I've had a lot of relationships, but I've improved and I've discovered what I want. So I've never given up. So I guess I'm romantic.
You are.
But yeah, but if you put me in a room with someone who's kind of, a man basher, and
Mm-hmm.
they're just putting down men and saying we're better than men, I don't agree. I don't agree. So I think there are very different women out there, and I think dating is very hard now. So I think that's forcing women into different camps to protect themselves. If you're dating, if you're online dating, it's so hard. You meet so many weirdos. So you have to protect yourself. So you can become very
I hear you on
tough.
that.
It's really hard. It's enough to make you want to stop. I've done it a couple of times. You can get so fed up with it that you just think, right, I don't want a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I've given up. I'm just going to be by myself. And then whenever I've done that, I've just thought, no, this isn't what I want. I want to be with someone, but I want
Mm-hmm.
the right person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, there are very different, you just have very different types of women here, the same as you have different
What
types of
would
men.
you say percentage? Could you say like a rough percentage? Like let's say like maybe two, three types where one is just more classic, kind of like you, so just want to enjoy life with the right partner and appreciate men. Another one is kind of feministic that say, oh, we need no men, and the third one is confused. how much? How much, David?
50-50. I mean,
You think
it's
so?
hard to judge.
Mm-hmm.
I chat to lots of people and I make
Mm-hmm.
friends easily, and I like to talk and find out people's views, and it could be a 50-50 thing. It could be that 50% of women, when you get talking to them, you realize very quickly that they are romantic, because they'll say, oh yes, I'm in love with somebody and I can't stop chasing him, or we're on off on off. And I think
Yeah.
the people who are very maybe up and down and on off with relationships are romantic, and they're dreamers because they don't want to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be 50-50. I
That's
know
not too
women
bad.
who have never had relationships and they don't want to try because they're afraid.
Mm-hmm.
That's getting more common now.
Really? Oh my
Women who,
gosh.
yeah, women who stay at home with their parents and they're too scared to look for boyfriends, and they're in their 30s.
Oh wow, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, yeah, like fuck with it.
Oh
Yeah,
god. I'm
I'm
sorry to.
glad I didn't miss out on all that,
Oh,
going out, and because it is scary, but I think you have to do it and enjoy yourself, and you have to, make the mistakes. It's the same as
yeah.
with business. You have to
Right.
mess it up. You have to get it wrong. You have to cry your eyes out and be
Exactly.
heartbroken. You have to go through it.
Yeah.
So it could be 50-50. I'm not sure.
If
I'm
I
not.
go
I'm
in
not
England, I
God.
just yeah, well, 50-50 isn't bad at all. If I go out in England, let's say I'm going to a not, like middle class restaurant, not too fancy, but you know, would I see women that are dressed like somewhat feminine, or would it be just jeans and t-shirts? Like, what about those attributes?
It depends where you go. I notice this stuff all the time and I really love it. I people watch all the time. If
Mm-hmm.
you go to a half decent restaurant, like a nice Indian restaurant, people will generally dress up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but there are nice places you can go where you can just be smart casual, and I quite like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm out with my partner during the day and we've been out walking and
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff, we just decide to pop into a restaurant for dinner. I'm never scruffy. I'm not a scruffy person. So you could just go in jeans and a nice top.
Mm-hmm. What does it mean, scruffy?
Scruffy, like messy in kind of.
Oh.
Do you have sort of jogging bottoms in Russia, like baggy
Oh.
trousers that you go running
I'm
in
pretty
or
scruffy.
exercise?
That's funny.
Yeah, scruffy, kind of. Yeah, scruffy. It's kind of, we use
I
it all
need
the
to
time
practice
here,
that.
scruffy. When you're not dressed
Yeah,
up and
I got it.
you haven't got makeup on and you're wearing baggy
Do
clothes.
women wear PJs? I have to know this. Do English women wear PJs to the store?
Oh, I've seen it happen and I hate it. I've seen it happen down my street and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Most people would look down on that. Most people
Mm-hmm.
would say, why
Wow.
haven't they put some clothes on? But I've seen it. I see it happen. Yeah, I see people going shopping in pajamas and I just think, put some jeans on. But that's
Yeah.
just,
Well, I tell you what. If I go out in my PJs, I'll get arrested.
I'm guessing it's very skimpy or nothing.
Well, it's just well, it's feminine PJs. I found a nice
Uh,
way to say it, like very feminine. So if I
yes.
if I decide to do that,
Uh,
uh, I might have to spend a couple days in jail. So
you would get a lot of attention.
yeah,
You would get followed down the street.
right.
I
Well,
promise.
that's why I actually dress every day. And as to me, it's just such. I didn't know how else to say it without saying too much of a detail, but I just think it's such a lame attitude about life. It's like I just give up. I can go to the store in my PJs that are like terrible, and they're so frumpy. Frumpy,
Frumpy, yeah,
Yeah,
frumpy.
whoa.
Yeah. It's
I
like
didn't.
you're not preparing yourself for the day. I think
Mhm.
you've got to, for me, I get dressed and then I feel ready for the
Mhm.
day. I'm ready for opportunities. And if I just stay, I have days where I stay at home in
I
my
love what you
pajamas.
said. I'm ready for opportunities.
Yeah,
Just think about it. Somebody calls you and say, "Hey, Karen, I have this client for you, or I have this. Could you come here in half an hour?" And if you're a mess, you basically
yeah,
send the
in your
signal.
pajamas.
I didn't shower
Yeah,
for 2 days, and I'm still wearing, yesterday PJs, and yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes, right? No, I
yeah,
can't make it.
that's it. You're saying I'm not ready.
Uh
I'm
huh.
not ready for anything.
Uh huh.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
You've got to
know,
feel psychologically ready and physically ready.
Yes. And being a
Yeah.
mom, some women give up after being a mom, but I think being a mom it's like such a joy. And why would you have memories of you, you know, looking like a hot mess when you can, embrace being a mom and be proud that you're still a beautiful woman and you are a mom and you are a businesswoman.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, and I mean, I understand. I mean, I've had days. I'm sure you've had days where
Yeah, totally.
find it hard going. Yeah, yeah. And
Don't
I
show
used to
me
have
mirror.
days. Yeah, I'd have days where it was hard
Hmm.
to get dressed. I understand, but I think you have to try. I think you have to. There were days where I would just put jogging bottoms and a
Right.
t-shirt on, and I wouldn't
There
even
are
put
days
a
like
bra
that.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've got to prepare yourself a little bit. So, and I think it's teaching my daughter good a good ethic, a good
Yes.
work ethic. You know,
Absolutely.
and it's not to be narcissistic or anything, but Ellie's so beautiful, she's so honest, and she'll just come up to me and she'll say, Mummy, you're so pretty, Mummy, you've got lovely pink cheeks, and Mummy, you're beautiful. And it's not an ego thing, it's just
No.
really love it. And I'll say, thank you, darling. I'll say, you're beautiful as well. And I like to make a bit of an effort,
Yeah.
even if I don't feel it.
Oh
I want
yeah.
to made an yeah. If you don't, you don't
It's
feel
it's
it, but
not
then
about feeling it. You just it's a question of a discipline. You just I mean,
yeah.
you might be sick, you might have a bad day, but looking good every day, it's not about I feel like doing this. It's like it's kind of like just a standard. You just don't go below it unless real sick and just have to take a day off.
Or something. Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful example to your daughter as well. My son is like, Mom, we are just going to the grocery store. You don't need your lip gloss. And because he sees like, I live in a real small town when,
Yeah.
people only dress up for funerals. So, he's picking on me for that. But I think in the long run, you see, I think it's not about the makeup itself, not about the clothes itself. It's about the philosophy behind it.
Yeah. You're making
It's
the best of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's about like I say you can always see a new mom or a person that lost their job. Why? Because they
Yeah.
are a mess. They have greasy hair.
Yeah.
They all, how to say this, untidy, or they all,
Yeah.
not everybody, but you can see it takes a personality to keep your standard high. And I was just wondering about English women, like in a percentage, how many women? I'm not saying about particular styles or brands at all. I'm just saying like when they go to work, how many do they or they don't go to work, or maybe they stay home moms. Like how many of them have a little bit of a standard when they in the daily life?
I think just thinking it's probably a 50-50 thing again.
Uh
And it's
huh.
something I notice. I see the women with greasy hair, their hair tied up in a bun, and it's not about the bun. It's like greasy hair, no makeup, really scruffy trainers, looking
Yeah.
scruffy, and
Okay.
just you can tell they're not making an effort. And so I see that, but then I see a lot of women who do make a bit of effort, and I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think again it's a 50-50 thing. There's a lot of professional women who wear a suit and they
Mm-hmm.
go and work in the city, and they're always smart. I see women in skirts and heels.
Uh-huh.
A lot of women work in retail around here, so they work in shops and stores. So they'll be
Yes.
in a uniform, but you can tell, when women have made an effort. So they're in a work uniform, but they've still got some
Yes.
makeup or they've got their hair up.
It's
I
just
think it's about an attitude rather than,
attitude. Yes.
yeah,
You
rather
you
than
may
how
have
you look.
even.
You can tell when someone's got
Mm-hmm.
pride
Mm-hmm.
in themselves.
Yeah. We aren't given advice, like everybody has a different taste. Like you can even have maybe no makeup if you look awesome like this, but just being clean, being organized, being smiley. That's what I mean. Just not being just like half asleep personality.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about brands and
Yes.
designer things, and me personally, I don't care about brands. I love vintage, I love charity shops, but I've always been told I look nice and I feel nice in what I wear.
Mm-hmm.
And I wear different styles on different days. Some days I've got a dress on today, which is unusual. And then other days I'm in jeans and a t-shirt and I feel amazing. So it depends on
Wow.
just how you feel about yourself, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Can I ask you something about, it's always, we're just gonna go into this and that's gonna be our closing point today about the finance. Do British women are just completely independent and they go into school, they go into work, or they open their business and they pretty much count that they are taking care of themselves? Or do they somewhat, or how do they relate to men financially? Like, do they hoping, or do they rely on a man in a relationship to support them at all, or are they just raised to take care of themselves and they are like very independent?
Um, I think again, you get every variety.
Uh huh.
So, and I think there's a whole new generation of maybe the new generation of
Mhm.
girls who are, and again, it's not all of them, but I see a lot of girls who are maybe 20, 21,
Mhm.
and they're having children very young, and they don't work, they've never worked. So generally when they get together with the man would work and support the family, but
Oh,
there are a
this
lot of
is
families where neither partner works. So
that's
there's a lot of,
interesting.
yeah, there's a lot of families where the woman doesn't work and the man doesn't work, so they receive benefits from the government,
Mhm.
and neither of them are trying to work.
But let's say about the working lady. Let's see, there is a lady, she works, she got her education, or she works in a company. I mean, she's doing okay. She's taking care of herself. Is she counting? Because in our culture, in Russian and Eastern European culture, I mean, it's so funny because men feel that, oh, women taking advantage of us, and obviously some women do, but in our culture, men do not feel like a man unless he's contributing, regardless of how much money the woman is making. He wants to be the bigger one, and he's taking pride in taking care of the whole family. Like,
Yeah,
wife's money is basically wife's money. She can also buy things for the family, but he's kind of the leader. Not in every family. Now it's changing a little bit to partnership also, but as I was growing up, it was like that. That men not only they taking pride, they don't feel good unless they are able to support the family, unless they are low class. The.
yeah. I think it depends how you're raised. So that there are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of men who like to feel that way, and because they've been brought up that way. They've been taught that
Uh-huh.
you get a job and you earn money. So
Yes.
it depends on your upbringing. It depends what your parents have done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I am coming across more and more when I was. I think when I was online dating, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I kept coming across men in their 40s who were living back at home, and some of them didn't even have jobs. And I remember thinking to myself, why would I date someone who lives at home and doesn't have a job? So I'm
Well, you
going to be
can take
spending
care
all
of
my
them.
money.
Yeah.
It's mad.
What about your mother instinct?
Well, yeah, you end up becoming the mother. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just
you
speaking.
know, they want a mother. They
Yeah.
want a mother girlfriend, and that's not my thing. So I think again, there's a bit of everything here, and it depends how people have been raised.
Don't you just wanna be a mom for a 40-year-old?
No,
No, you know
no,
what? I want to
I've
say
been
something,
there.
guys. You
I've
know,
done that.
right. And I just want to say this, don't take it personally, and I'll tell you why. Because the true woman that she wants to see strength in you. If you're in a difficult situation, if you have a financial struggle, she will stay with you, but she will do everything to encourage you to get on your feet. A true woman will not leave you if, or will not deny you if some you have some circumstances. Maybe you have a parent you're taking care of. Maybe you are between jobs, but you're making your way. Maybe you opening your business. She will not look down at you as long as you put effort every day. And she true woman wants you to step in your power. She doesn't want to become this mom. She doesn't want you to become a baby and step into your weakness. She wants you to step in your strengths. And applies the same standard for me. I don't need anybody to feel sorry for me. I want people to see the power in me, especially my partner. I want to be in my strengths. But I think for men, it's even more crucial. The moment you start to take care of a guy, not in a lovely way, not in a romantic way, but when he's counting of you to take care of him, he start losing himself as a man, and it's a sad road. It's something. If
Yeah.
you love a man, you won't do it. You will encourage him and say, "No, I believe in you. You can do it, and I'm there."
I think it's good to have someone's support. If you're going through something
Yeah.
difficult, you need support, whether you're a man or a woman, but then you've got to be willing to take the steps for yourself. Because if you're not taking those steps, you're going nowhere.
Yes.
So, right, it's okay for a man to be struggling, and
Yeah,
as
it's
long as
okay
he's
to share.
trying, yeah, absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think most women aren't superficial, and that, we love someone for who they are, and we
Yes.
love them for their potential and
True.
their strength,
And the thing
you
is, we
know?
already know who they are. When we truly love them, they don't even have to prove it. They just have to do certain things like we do daily. But for me, when I feel the person, I know exactly who they are, even if they're on the ground right now. I don't need them to prove it to me. I just want them to step into their power and be who were they meant to be. So if everybody else like turns away from them, if my person is true to me, you just with them.
Yeah.
It's just a
You're,
kind
you
of.
help people.
Yeah, and I think supporting is important. And I think when men expose their weakness a little bit, what I see that we can show some compassion and care, but not to the point where they can lose themselves and feel sorry for themselves, feeling
Yeah.
empathy but not sorry for them, because it's very joyful to feel sorry for yourself. I've been there. Like, I had days back in my life and I was like, oh god. you know
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. And then you have to move through it, and then you have to start feeling strong and taking steps. And sometimes you can only take a little step, but you
yeah,
have to do it for yourself, don't you? You have to want to be stronger.
yeah, unless you wanna just live your life in pain, and then you always have something to talk about.
Yes. Wear the victim t-shirt.
So basically, what you're saying is there is pretty much in England is not such a significant difference. There are just different categories of women, and their mentality is just
Yeah, I would say so. Completely different
yeah.
cultures of women here as well. That, there are women, very professional women, I think, would look down on women who aren't professional,
Uh huh.
and because I've always worked, if I see someone who's never worked, I would probably question that and think, well, why aren't they trying to do something? So, yeah, a bit of compassion is a good thing, but I think you've got to keep your standards high, no matter what life throws at you. You become a single mum, things happen, but there's always sometimes things can be hard, and then that's what pushes you into something better,
Yeah,
you
I agree
know?
with that.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you can't really say that, it's only one way. It really depends on person's background, how they grew up, and you cannot just color them in one color because too much of
no,
a difference.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not one kind of upbringing here, there's not one kind of education. Everyone is kind of the product of how their parents were and then how their parents were raised. Some men are they were taught to be, strong and silent and not show emotion. And then there are men who are very feminine. There are lots of men who are really feminine. And then you have to
I
be
don't
the
know about
man,
that.
You've got alpha male, and then you've got beta male. You've got kind of the alpha male, the strong go-getter, and then you've got the beta male who is softer, and you've got to think, what do I want from a man? So, yeah, it's very interesting. I think it's very interesting.
And okay, my last question now for sure. What if, is there, if you can say the percentage, what is the percentage of feministic women like that are feminist, like I don't need men and like whatever, and
Hmm.
I'm
You,
just
you like your percentages, don't you? You like
yeah
your numbers. It's a difficult question. Um, so very kind of, so women who are kind of
yeah
anti-men.
kind of like
Yeah, it's a hard one because you see a lot of it in the media. You see a lot of that portrayed in
but it's
films,
it's
in
maybe 50-50 too, right? Because it's
I
you
don't
know
think so actually. I think it might be less.
okay,
I
good
think
good news, guys.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think you have to take each woman as you
Yes.
find them, and yeah, I don't tend to spend a lot of time with people like that.
Sure.
So
Guys,
yeah,
meet ladies at the church, museums, cultural centers, and exhibitions.
yeah, and give them some attention and take notice and give them a compliment. Everybody needs a compliment.
Yeah.
We don't give enough compliments in our culture, and we don't get enough compliments.
Yeah, and do the same for the man, if any ladies are watching us, like guys love compliments. They love to be appreciated. They love to be recognized for what they do. Even if somebody completely screwed up, but he was trying to make something nice, just be humorous, and just say, be appreciative because he put effort. And to be honest, for us, it's not so important like what you do for us, as long as you do something.
Yeah. Shall I tell you two really good compliments quickly? I learned a couple of good compliments that men love. So the first one is, "You're such a guy." You're
I
such a
know you're
guy.
such a
So
guy.
that makes them feel, oh, I'm a man. So if he does something a bit silly
Mm-hmm.
or a bit wild, you can say, oh, you're such a guy. And then another one is, if you want to be able to talk to a man about something and he's listening to you for, say, more than a minute, you can say, oh, I love talking to you. You make me feel so safe.
Mm-hmm. True. Very
And I
true.
feel like he's protecting the woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a nice thing. If a man listens to you for 30 seconds or for any amount of time, you just say, oh, thank you for listening. That made me feel really safe being able to talk to you about that.
Yes.
And he sort of goes, I've done my job now.
And I know your resources where you got it. I
Oh,
know.
do you?
Yes, I knew. I
Oh, I
love
can't remember where I got it.
Matthew Hussey.
Ah, yes, I love him.
I
Yeah,
love him.
yeah.
I love him too. So,
But you love
guys,
his
yes.
accent.
Well, I love his accent and I love his content. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes,
He's really good.
he
Yeah.
is excellent. So, guys, good old classic thing again. So, basically, we did not really, open another land, but I just thought it would be useful for you. That world isn't coming to an end. There are
No.
plenty of wonderful women that want the same thing as you do, that just genuine and just want to be happy. Okay, so let's not to make this generalization how world is coming to an end and genders are fighting. There are plenty of people who just want to enjoy each other.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. Thank
Yes,
you.
guys, thank you for listening. Please let me know what topics you want to hear. Maybe you have some questions to Karen. I'll post links to her channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what I do, feel free to subscribe and comment and share. Thank you.